Loki, how much do you know?
Let's assume I don't know much, but I'm a fast learner, and I'm a god.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Here we go. All of existence is in grave danger. The TVA is gone.
I think you mean ATV, and no, we got in 2 of them last week.
I need everyone to help us fix it.
Oh, it's a party.
Loki, if you're too late, you will be lost to time forever. And Mobius will lose all of his skin.
Here we go. Listen to me carefully. Hit the green button. It can be a little sticky.
That other thing can. So it's now or never.
There's something you have to see.
Loki, you are getting desperate.
You're a silly little man!
I lost it. One time, I held the whole of New York City hostage with an alien army. It happens.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They released a Loki finale trailer. There's footage from episodes 5 and episode 6 in this. There are only 2 episodes left, as they say during the trailer, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. Kevin Feige did say that there would be a definitive ending during Season 2, but there was always the possibility of them doing Season 3, and this will set up Deadpool 3, Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, Avengers 6, Secret Wars, so even though they're saying it has a definitive ending, it is influencing what's happening in the rest of the MCU right now. But even though some of the footage seems like it's footage from previous episodes, you can tell they have new dialogue, so it's almost like Loki gets to relive the events of the previous episodes and try things in a different way, so that they're able to avoid the destruction of all reality, like when the timeline here is exploding at the end of episode 4. There are a lot of questions about how that winds up happening, like maybe he time slips into his past self, because he does time slip during the trailer. Like at the beginning here, you see him doing a little bit of time slipping back to the future where everything is breaking down behind him. He goes back to the place where he talked to Mobius and Sylvie separately, which Sylvie is calling Pyland. Then there's another scene of them with Victor Timely, who is also back, confirming that he is back because Loki somehow jumps back to the past, with him trying to learn how to fix things, and he makes another joke about being a god, like he did with Sylvie earlier, like, I don't know much, but I am a god. The only problem is that he's the god of mischief, like he's not the god of knowledge or anything like that. Not the god of fixing things. Then the way they edit the trailer, they sort of jump around in the timeline a little bit, like he's shifting through the timeline. Then there's another scene of him in the control room talking to what looks like Victor Timely Kang, who's trying to fix the device again this time. Then there's a bunch of different scenes of all the different characters looking like they're inside regular lives on the sacred timeline or in different realities. Like Sylvie's in the record shop, I think this is back in her 1980s reality, so her reality is still back, like her McDonald's is back. But remember, that's because Loki jumps to the past. It's not like they completely fixed everything. There's a bunch more scene of Casey in what looks like his life on the sacred timeline, and it looks like he's walking through some kind of prison here. Then they confirm one of my biggest theories after the last couple of episodes about Mobius in the jet skis. They confirmed that the jet ski dealership in all the previous Loki trailers is actually where Mobius works. He's wearing the uniform of the business, and they don't confirm the year, but it might be during the 90s, like paying off that big Season 1 Easter egg. There are a couple jokes about him coming into the business to try and talk to him and reveal what's going on, like the TVA is done, but this version of Mobius, whatever winds up happening, doesn't know about the TVA. No, you mean ATV, which is basically like a four-wheeler. This confirms why he knows so much about jet skis, why he's so obsessed with jet skis. He was kind of like a professor of these kinds of personal watercraft, personal vehicles in episode 1.
Is this on the sacred timeline? Because, looks fun. Is one of these calling your name, Mobius?
I don't know about calling, maybe gently whispering.
Loki walks back into the TVA control room. You see the screen breaking down with minutes on it again, but everything is turning to spaghetti. There are a couple different scenes in the trailer with things turning into spaghetti. Then we see Loki jumping back to him during the events of Season 1, or maybe this is during a different part of the timeline, but he's back in the TVA prison jumpsuits, like he's been arrested again. So it's not really clear if this is the events of Season 1, or if they just wind up capturing him at the beginning of the TVA, like in Episode 1, where he jumped back to the very beginning of the TVA. And because they cycle through all the different faces of the characters, it sounds like he has to go around collecting them again, bringing them back to the TVA. And as part of this, there is more Victor Timely footage confirming that Victor Timely is back. There's brand new footage of OB working on a bunch of stuff, like you see a bunch of the message tubes that he's pounding on and sending away. Just pause and zoom in and enhance around this part of the video. Let me know if you think you spot any other Easter eggs that are strewn about. There's just so many things. There are like thousands and thousands of things strewn around this frame. It just feels like there's a lot of Easter eggs here in the background. There's another scene of different versions of Loki from different parts of his timeline seeing each other. Like, wait a minute, you look familiar. Some of this looks like a repeat of the even earlier episodes where he's joking about Mobius losing all of his skin. Then it's not totally clear if this scene of Victor Timely Kang being turned into spaghetti is him getting turned into spaghetti again, like it's a brand new version of this, or if it's just them recapping the events of episode 4 at the beginning of episode 5. There's brand new footage of Loki giving someone instructions though, so this might be Victor Timely Kang. He's talking about hitting the green button, activating this device. There's a bunch of footage of the timeline, but everything is green, so this might be the perspective of Loki going throughout his own timeline, or Loki using his magic traveling through the timeline. It looks just like the timeline effect that we saw in the previous episode, but everything is green like Loki's magic. There's footage of all the characters inside another room that we haven't seen yet. More footage of missed minutes, and then a bunch of scenes that we saw in episode 4, sort of like replaying those events. More footage of Ravonna Renslayer on the Void Planet. The purple light probably is Alioth. More footage of Loki talking to Sylvie with everything turning to spaghetti around them. Then Loki himself outside on the bridge, walking to try and fix the device without a spacesuit. This last scene, though, is combined voiceover dialogue with Miss Minutes showing Ravonna Renslayer her backstory with He Who Remains, combined with Loki from the end of episode 4, though. Little more Loki time-slipping back to this same room with everybody. It seems like after he's collected them and brought them back from the sacred timeline, different parts of the timeline. It is not totally clear if this scene of them interrogating Hunter X5 is the exact same scene from before, like they just copy-pasted it from a previous episode, or if it's like a totally new version of them doing this. Same thing with Loki explaining the events of the first Thor movie and the first Avengers movie and why he took over Earth for Thanos. This might be the scene from the previous episode, or it could just be them replaying the events, because they basically said this is like the mid-season trailer with footage from the last couple of episodes, so there might be footage from previous episodes that they just mixed into this. There's a whole bunch of new twists here, but like I said, it just seems like Loki time slips into the past and they get an opportunity to replay events, like a redo on everything, so that they can avoid the destruction of all reality. But whatever they wind up doing at the beginning of episode 5, like however they wind up explaining this, a bunch of them wind up on the sacred timeline and Loki has to go around to their different parts of the timeline and get them back. So it might be them actually rebooting the timeline, or it might just have something to do with Loki jumping around in his own timeline. That sort of goes back to the old adage that how do you fix things? The easiest way in troubleshooting is unplugging it and plugging it back in. Just reboot the multiverse, reboot the sacred timeline. They're actually kind of using Avengers 6 Secret Wars for that in a larger sense for Marvel. I did a big Marvel reboot video. It's more of like a soft reboot. Well, they'll tune things so that after Secret Wars, the MCU will look a little bit more like the true 616 comic book universe where everybody coexisted on the same planet the entire time. Like the X-Men characters, Fantastic Four, all the Avengers characters, everybody from the comics, the way that Kevin Feige had always wanted to be able to use all their characters together in stories. The only thing we don't see a lot of in this trailer from the last couple of episodes is Miss Minutes and Renslayer. Like there's a little bit of Renslayer on the Void Planet, not really explaining how she winds up making it back to the TVA. There was also a little more footage in some of the previous trailers of Sylvie fighting someone inside He Who Remains Citadel at the end of time, so she might be fighting Renslayer there, or it might be them redoing the events of the end of Season 1. We'll also probably get some more He Who Remains version of Kang to explain a little bit more about what actually happened. They give us a little teaser for Renslayer's backstory, but we might get a little bit more information about what actually happened. Even though they're billing Renslayer as like one of the big villains this season, like she's turned into one of the big villains, Miss Minutes seems like she is the over-the-top cartoon-level villain. Like just look at her face as she's watching all the different hunters get squished. That is the face of true evil. Really hoping they also pay off that line where she wants a body, but they might wind up leaving it to some future story if they don't kill her off at the end of the season. But if they do kill anyone off, like any of the villains this season, it would be Miss Minutes. I talked about this in a previous video too. There's always the idea that they kill her off, but in an Ultron kind of way, where there's always a chance that she comes back, because essentially she's an artificial intelligence, a program, so pieces of them can survive. Like she can hide a piece of herself and use that as a way to come back in the future at some point. But I'm not expecting to see like a huge Deadpool cameo or anything like that, or like a big Thor cameo. I think they'll just be light references to the other big things that are happening in Marvel right now. Post all your predictions in the comments below, and my full episode 5 video will post later this week after they release it. Big reminder, Invincible Season 2 episodes are starting this Friday too. I'll be doing weekly episode videos for that. It is fantastic. It's probably one of the best series, not just best superhero series, but just best series in general. We're also supposed to get the first trailer for the Echo series at some point this week, so of course I'll do a video for that whenever they release it. Daredevil and Kingpin will come back and be really, really big characters during that. Click here for my Loki episode 5 video. I'll update the link as soon as I post that. And click here for all my other Loki videos. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.